Water is wet as Chelsea yet again secure 3 points against Tottenham. Securing wins against Tottenham really feels like a universal certainty. Yeah, we're guaranteed to get the win, no matter how we perform or how we play. This now means it's 13 games in which Spurs have only secured one win against us. And throughout the history of the Premier League, Spurs have not beaten us double digits in their club history. It's a guarantee that we're going to come and beat Tottenham, no matter how much money they spend, what players they sign, what managers they bring in. If I'm a Spurs fan, real talk, I'm keeping my head low and I'm just running back home. I'm not even looking at the Chelsea fans. You can't have any energy or vim or even anger for the Chelsea fans tonight, yeah, or the away fans. Nah. All that anger goes towards the diabolical performance you guys put up against us. I mean, statistically, I'm looking at the expected goal threat. They had 0.05 expected threats against us, a total of only 3 shots as well. It was pathetic. It's not very often that the opponent's performance was that bad and that pathetic that I actually even give too much time talking about it. But I just saw Spurs play with their tail between their legs in the opening minutes of the game starting. That's how bad and poor and easy they were. And I'm saying all of this to kind of preface what I'm about to say now because, listen, I don't always say things to try and get the popular vote or to validate everyone. I like to talk about my perspective and what I see. And if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that I'm a little bit of a purist at times, right? For myself, because beating Spurs is that much of a formality, it's almost as if I'm also looking and studying the other details in a game, right? Because what I'm about to say is, I thought we performed pretty badly. Now, it wasn't awful in terms of our tactical shape and discipline and the game plan to nullify Spurs completely in its purest totality. That's what I mean about nullifying Tottenham today. I was watching that second half and I was just like, oh, not even the second half. I was watching Tottenham thinking, it's not very often I've seen a team that are doing everything in their power to ensure that we can play our best possible game. They're not restricting the spaces. They're not using 5 at the back. And I can't believe I wasted my time talking about that in the preview. I really had maybe a bit more respect for these guys, more than I should have. And I apologize for that. I really thought they'd come here to kind of make the game hard and difficult. But they did everything in their power to ensure that we could have the best possible game in our favor in terms of our build-up from the back, not even pressing our centre-backs, no mid-block structure, not even 2v1ing our wingers on the sides, not even just like parking the bus so we're playing in front. They did none of that. They ensured that we would have every possibility to easily play our game. And in the second half, when you're thinking, is Frank going to do something interesting? This is the Thomas Frank who was cooking us with Brentford all these years, right? They made it even easier by ensuring that we had an open game to do what the hell we want to do. So the fact that we leave this game today with 1 goal scored, I'm sorry, because I keep the standards high. I don't care, especially when everything is going in our favor. Yeah, I'm one of those guys where, like, when I watch football, yeah, you know, when you see like gymnastics at the Olympics, you see like every like individual action or performance, the judges are on the sidelines with their scoreboards giving 8, 9, 7, whatever. That's what I do like internally in my head when I'm seeing like maybe what players are doing on the ball, certain runs off the ball, certain decisions are being made, like certain team moves. And I would really score us like 3, 4, and 5 today in terms of the execution, because this should have been, real talk, this should have been 4 or 5-0. This was the game that was set up for us to dominate with that type of scoreline. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm keeping it real, you guys. And let's not forget the misses we saw from Gittins at the end. Gittins, how the hell have you missed that? I think that's diabolical. Joao Pedro, I can even sympathize with this guy a little bit because he had like in one game against Spurs, more chances than what he's had in 10 games for us over this entire season. I don't think he was used to getting these opportunities. And I think the finishing boots was a little inconsistent today. But I'm just seeing all the opportunities. I'm seeing all the attacks. I'm seeing like all the space we had to go 1v1 against these guys. And it just felt like we didn't punish them enough. We didn't hurt them enough. We should have done that. Everything on paper was there for us to record this game today. And I'm leaving a little bit disappointed. Yes, I'll admit I'm being a purist, but I'm always going to give my honest takes, whether you guys agree or not. But honestly, I was just thinking to myself, the execution from you guys right now, you're kind of like letting down this performance a little bit. Because I'm sorry, man, we didn't have to do that much to kind of control this game easily. Spurs worked harder. Spurs worked against themselves to ensure that we could easily control this game. So when you have that bit of the game just patterned and secured, for me now it's like, okay, what are you doing with this game state now that's completely in your favor? How are you going to run walk with this? How are you going to take advantage of it? And I just felt like we didn't do that, man, in that second half. I'm looking at the chances for days. You know, Enzo, Fernandez with that Reece James cross. As I said, Gittins, Joao Pedro had a ton. I'm seeing certain counter-attacks as well. You know, near the end to Enzo Fernandez looking to slot a pass into Gittins instead of shifting and taking a shot on goal. My Lord, Pedro Neto in that second half. I mean, it feels like he's just in the first team lineup because he's got the experience. Is it even the work rate? I couldn't tell you. I look at the stats afterwards. It's not like this guy's cooking with 4-5 tackles won every single game to like, you know, he's putting in these like partly sung performances off the ball. Yeah, not even doing that. I mean, this was a game which he rarely ever gets, yeah, this amount of space to attack outside or come inside or do whatever the hell you want. And he fumbled it completely and did absolutely nothing. I was disappointed. And for myself with Pedro Neto, the guy's not a bad player. He is good, but I'm at a point right now where, you know, when are we going to start going to that next level, you know? And to go to that next level, it's going to require players like your Pedro Netos to consistently put in like 3 to 5 good performances consecutively. With Pedro Neto, the rate is just a bit inconsistent. It's like one great game, like 2 good games, and 5 so average games. It's not enough. Not when you had all that. Bro, like, you play games where you don't have the space you had today, and you didn't do anything with it. And you're getting tackled left, right, and center. And I see Esteval already, his junior, who just offers so much more. And even in that little cameo that he had the final 10 minutes when he finally came on, look how he played that pass into Enzo. Look how he was just like running towards and pushing back the Spurs fullbacks to retreat like towards their own goal. Neto wasn't doing that at all. And Udogie was wrapping this guy up. I need to see more from Neto. As I said, he has to be able to show he can put in 3 to 5 great consecutive performances instead of this like hit and miss, you never know what to expect stuff. I don't think it was good enough, to be fair with you. Yeah, I know what you guys are thinking, Nini, we've just won. You're kind of pissing me off because you're being so negative. Fair enough. I don't know, maybe it's a Spurs thing. I remember like years ago when under Conte we beat them 2-0, and I was like really annoyed by the performance because we parked the bus and played counter-attack football against a team that we were completely superior against, man v man, versus everything. That stuff also matters to me a little bit. Maybe it's because I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to have this Virgin bill coming out for 130 a month. It's an expensive game to consume, to watch, you know. It takes a lot of your time up as well. Sometimes I want to feel like, you know, that wait for a game, because I've been waiting for this game for time, yeah? For the last 2 weeks, I've been waiting for this Tottenham game. Maybe this is why it's like affected my perspective on the performance today. But I was just hoping for a bit more, you know? I felt like there was those possibilities and it wasn't there. I feel dumb for thinking that Spurs would have been better than what they were. I mean, their threat from like long throws and corners and all this stuff was just a matter to F all in this game today. Let's keep it real. So like when you don't even have to worry about that tiny threat that might come from them, all right, what else are you gonna show? What else are you gonna do? And I just felt like, man, we could have completely on a different day completely stole the show, like made a massive statement. Got, in my opinion, it was gonna be an important thing this season. Great goal difference, yeah, great goal difference, and we just did enough in that sense. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not saying it was a terrible game. But you can control the game in the manner we did. I mean, it was there. Credit to Enzo Maresca today. We completely nullified the midfield. Just having Reece James and Enzo Fernandez pinning Paulinho and Bentancur. I mean, it's been a big criticism from Spurs fans for a long time, but there's just no essential progression on the ball whatsoever at all. And once you took out their midfield threat, Spurs were just there for the taking and had nothing to do really. That first half, man, we were constantly forcing these lot to make errors. And it resulted in Moises Caicedo doing his best and N'Golo Kante honing missile impression. And he wins the ball back to set up Joao Pedro, and credit to Pedro. I think that finish was a really composed one considering the great, easier chance that he missed actually not too long before that. But that was kind of Spurs, right? I didn't understand what they wanted to do today. I'm looking at Jed Spence on the left sides, how he like pinned their midfield back with a man-to-man press. They had the defenders were forced to have to play long balls out from the back to find no one because Kolo Muani isn't Mateta. He's not going to win an aerial ball. He gets on the end of stuff. If you can't give him that service, you're wasting your time. And even Xavi Simons coming on replacing Berthoud. Maybe that was like a key thing, not having him on the left-hand side to combine with Spence. Fair enough. And not going to lie, Xavi Simons looks a bit shook, I think, playing in this league. He needs a lot of time to get used to the physicality. So we just had everything going our way in that first half. I saw some good things. I like the combination in particular between Garnacho and Enzo Fernandez. I thought that was really good between them. There's a lovely little passage in that first half where Enzo the ball was glued to his boots. I don't know how he still kept the ball, and that instant, like, first time out the, little flick on pass to Garnacho to set him up for the shot. Great play. I was actually impressed with Garnacho today as well. He worked really hard. But it wasn't just working hard, it was the quality. How he was pushing us up the field, how he was timing his runs, timing his movements. He was just bringing a lot of threat when he played today. And, I kind of felt for him when he got subbed off and Neto remained because Garnacho was a lot better than Neto in this game today. And he could have had a moment to possibly get on the score sheet if Enzo Fernandez clocked that Garnacho was free on the far side. And I think Garnacho would have probably buried that from that Reece James cross. So I liked his mentality when he left the field, feeling a bit disappointed because he's a player. He knew that there was a lot more to take in this game. This type of game against this useless Spurs team. And I'm not even saying this to just add salt to the wounds and just kind of gas things up like a YouTuber. I'm just being just perfectly honest, you guys. I'm feeling very grounded when I'm saying this. They really were just that useless today, and it just annoys me that we just didn't destroy these guys. 3-4 goals, make them look stupid, hurt them so bad that their form flops with the next 2-3 games afterwards. Their fans was against them. Their fans was against them the entire game today. You could hear all the moans and groans and boos from how they played in this game, right? And we could have just hurt these guys even more. I wanted them to suffer. Sadly, we couldn't do that. But at the same time, getting a pretty easy win today. Defenders were good in this game. Very easy for them, I got to say. But they were still good. Midfield ran the show, Reece James, Moises Caicedo. One of Reece James's really strong performances, playing the inverted. Can't even call it the inverted role, just playing as a midfield player at this point. But I guess maybe the attacking players outside of Garnacho and Pedro, I don't know. I just think the execution, the finishing today, from all the threat and the space that we had our way, that we didn't take that game to a different stratosphere. I don't know, man. I just think from my own personal point of view, watching the game as a spectator, I just felt like I wasn't as impressed with just how frivolous we were with all the chances we made and our domination. Very frivolous, because I think, just to end this point now, before, so I can wrap things up, I guess my ultimate fear is to give you guys a conclusion to like all my rambles, is that I just always have this like thought that, do we necessarily have that killer energy that you kind of need at times to really push on to that next like title challenging, you're always the favorites for every competition type of level that we used to be on, and I want to see us get back to, and I just feel like these are the games where you kind of see that mentality shift of, you want to play like this against us, you're going to get punished. You're going to feel the repercussions from this fatal flaw and error on your sides. And we didn't. We just didn't take that chance in that moment, which is a shame. So, my friends, that's everything I got to say about the review today. Share your thoughts and opinions, and I'll catch you guys later with more videos. Love. Cool.